Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So that's what they meant when Joe Biden takes, quote, shouted questions. What was it, last week, maybe the week prior? We were covering this moment from the White House press briefing room, where Karine Jean-Pierre was being pressed from White House reporters on the issue of Joe Biden not taking questions. The headline reading, Donald Trump took questions practically every day. Press revolts at briefing over no Biden presser on Ireland trip. Karine Jean-Pierre then tried to make the case that Joe Biden always takes questions. He takes more shouted questions than anybody else.
The president always loves to take your questions, shouted questions.
I've been here long enough to have covered President Bill Clinton. This is not the norm. The norm is we do get an opportunity to ask the questions to the president about domestic and foreign policy issues in a formal setting at some point. And you choose that point, but we haven't had that opportunity in quite some time.
So I'll say this, it is also unprecedented that a president takes as many shouted questions as this president has, and he has.
A statement so deeply inaccurate, so deeply untrue, that even the White House quietly corrected Karine Jean-Pierre's claim that Biden has taken more press questions than Trump, Obama, and Bush combined. Even the White House had to issue a correction because Karine Jean-Pierre is so full of it. Well, the dishonesty coming out of this White House gets even worse, as their narrative of being the most transparent White House in American history, their narrative that Joe Biden takes shouted informal questions all the time, just completely fell apart. Of course, it's nothing surprising, it's nothing new, but it's actual evidence, more evidence, showing just how dishonest they are and just how deep Washington and media corruption goes. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. It's an important conversation to have. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so this right here is why I love technology. It's hard to hide things with the quality of microphones and the quality of cameras that are regularly available. Joe Biden once again caught with a cheat sheet. We've got this from Simon Ateba. Breaking, Joe Biden cheat sheet shows he had advanced knowledge of journalists' questions. Your reaction. Now take a look at this. Reporter Q&A, April 26, 2021. Question number 1 from Courtney Subramanian. Joe Biden is such a freaking clown, so utterly incompetent, frankly uneducated and uncultured. He needs to be guided in how to pronounce exotic last names. Subramanian, oh so difficult. I mean, any basic English speaker should be able to read that without any issues whatsoever. That's just one element of Joe Biden's hand being held at every point and turn because he's such an incompetent, ridiculous buffoon. But then, of course, he has the actual question listed before being asked. Foreign policy / semiconductor manufacturing. How are you, all capitals and bolded out, squaring? The rest is blocked, but I guess it's something your domestic priorities like reshoring, semiconductor manufacturing, blah, blah, blah. He probably has the answer, what he's supposed to answer, below as well. Now, of course, the media is completely ignoring this, and leftists are pretending as if, oh, this is totally normal, par for the course. But it's not. It's a big deal for multiple different reasons. First off, the president is so old, so lost, so incoherent, so lacking in the cognitive ability department that he can't simply speak or do his job during public appearances without help from his puppet masters. But the more frustrating and concerning point is a simple question. Why in the heck is he getting questions before these press events? I thought Joe Biden takes informal shouted questions and is just so capable and confident.
Absolutely not. As he says every day, watch me. And he puts many of us to shame with his energy.
He is, you know, as I age, I appreciate wisdom even more.
No, not at all. Not at all. We've had many leaders his age that have done extraordinary things for America, and there's no reason why he can't accomplish this just as much or more in his second term as he did in his first.
He puts us all to shame with his incredible energy, yet he literally cannot take questions without rehearsing his answers prior. It shows how deeply corrupted the system is. It brings us back to the 2016 election, where the mainstream media colluded with the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC to give her the questions ahead of the debate. Special media privilege. It's all a facade. It's all a frickin' act. Joe goes out there during times of national struggle, economic instability, global instability, potential war, major scandals involving his White House and his personal dealings, huge revelations and bombshells being dropped in the media, seemingly day after day. We've been covering them all, and he gets a bunch of softball questions. Karine Jean-Pierre tries to explain and justify the practice.
How were the reporters decided?
So, So the way that we have moved forward with this type of process is that we reach out to a number of reporters who we know are going to be at the press conference, and that's what we did yesterday. And also we try to be really mindful on who has not gotten a question in a while. And so, as you know, we could only pick 2 reporters yesterday, so that limits our ability on how many reporters we can call on. Mary's not here, but I can say one of the reasons that we picked Mary is because she was just named chief White House correspondent for ABC and had not gotten a question in some time. And we picked the Los Angeles Times, which has not gotten a question in some time. And I want to add that the fact that California has the largest South Korean American population in any state in the country, and LA has the biggest population of any city in America, and LAT is the biggest daily paper serving that population. So we are mindful on who we pick and who we want to communicate out to.
Again, total garbage. We try to be very mindful of those who haven't been able to ask questions. Kind of funny considering the initial report that we covered was from Simon Ateba's Twitter account, a man who works as a White House press journalist for, I believe, Africa News Today or Today News Africa, a man who she hasn't called upon to ask a question during White House press briefings for nearly 7 months. She is full of it. They're freaking liars. What they really do behind closed doors is coordinate with fake news journalists from fake news tabloid garbage publications like the LA Times so they can control what's being asked and so that they can make sure that they get good press and journalists don't ask tough questions. I mean, what a load of you-know-what. Here's some more copium from CNN on the issue.
And Arlette, I mentioned President Biden in the Rose Garden yesterday during that press conference. There was also a moment in that press conference where a photographer captured the notes that President Biden was holding in his hand. And there appeared to be one with the reporter that he was going to call on, the first reporter he called on during that press conference. And now there are allegations about whether or not he had the question in advance. What is the White House saying about what happened here?
Well, Caitlin, it's not uncommon for the White House to prepare these types of briefing materials for the president, but it's the level of specificity that is in the spotlight in this moment. As you noted, that note card included the name and photo of a reporter and also a possible question. Now, it's worth noting that her question was not identical to what was on that note card, and her outlet says that they did not submit any questions to the White House ahead of this press conference. But we have seen the president in the past carrying around these note cards with details about the events, where he needs to go, the people that he's meeting with. Now, these types of moments are things that Republicans have seized on, especially as they have tried to highlight President Biden's age.
Republicans are just seizing on reporters asking Biden scripted questions. Yes, Republicans are just seizing. No, the practice is absolutely despicable. The practice is frankly undemocratic from you goons constantly going on and on and on about mud democracy, yet you continue to operate, frankly, like freaking communists. They create the illusion of democracy. They create the illusion of fairness, the illusion of transparency. It's all illusion. It's all propaganda. There is nothing sincere and nothing real about any of it. And the whole thing, of course, is fundamentally unserious. Joe Biden takes so many questions. Joe Biden takes no questions. He simply participates in this political theater. In fact, even the Washington Post is calling him out and just showing how unserious this whole thing is. Biden takes lots of questions, not from White House press reporters, but from children. This is actually not parody. It's kind of true if you think about it. Fox News did a little report from 2 weeks ago.
He gave reporters short shrift, but took a few questions from local children. One of his answers was quite a head scratcher. Here's a bit.
Any of you guys want to ask any questions? Because the key to success. The key to success is whenever you disagree with someone, it's okay to question their judgment, whether they're right or wrong. But it's never okay to question their motive.
Not only is it all just so unserious and ridiculous, but again, what the heck is this guy even saying? It's not okay to question people's motives? What? I cannot handle and I cannot stand this administration. I mean, at some point I have to just not take it so seriously and just view the humor in it. I mean, it is kind of funny in a certain way, just so ridiculous. But really seeing the humor in it and the laughing is really nothing but copium. It's just trying to cope with this situation, being subjected to this incredible incompetence, this dishonesty, the propaganda, the lies, the corruption. Frankly, it's like a long form of torture. No other way to say it. That's what I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.